Hello YouTubers, Faded here, and welcome to another rant video. I'm again joined by Baseball Lover. So,
Hey,
yeah, we're gonna try to make this a weekly thing, because we did this in month of December, the Christmas calendar, and you guys seem to like it. So next year we'll try our best to make it a weekly thing. And we haven't yet decided which day it's gonna go up, but you know what, it doesn't really matter as soon as we, just that we do this is the most important thing. So, is there anything you want to say to everyone who's watching right now?
nah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's
That's
just
that.
get to it.
Okay, let's just get to it. So, the topics we're on today are the big three grand tours we want to talk about. Let's start off by the Giro d'Italia. Who do you think is going to be the favorites for winning that, the pink jersey?
Well, I think that if Perito goes, then he's a favorite, but also Richie Port and most likely A now. You can't really look past Sky at any point, especially with Richie Port. He's got time trialing too, which is one thing that Perito has never been consistent at. So there's that. Also, if Quintana goes, because he's been debating it, he'll be the best climber there, presumably.
The
But
thing, the,
his
th
time trialing.
the thing about Richie Porte, though, is in the Tour de France last year, he showed that he was better than Perito in most mountain stages. And that's kind of frightening when you think he's going to be a GC captain.
Yeah, and that one stage, I forget what it was. Was it the stage to
The Astre Domain.
Astrois Domain,
Yeah, yeah.
where he just absolutely destroys everyone? The one thing that could cost him, though, is if he does that. We've seen that that's his maximum bit that he can do when he's working for someone else. If he has a whole team behind him, I don't know. But also, the stage after, remember, he cracked really bad. The only hope that any other contenders have is that that happens again.
Well, it's gonna happen again, because I don't think that Richie Porte is experienced enough to not make that bad choice. Because we've seen, like, he did it last year as well, like, the year before last year. He did it again. I remember him cracking like that too. And
Yes.
it's his memo to have one bad day. And if he loses 20 minutes on a day, well, there
Yeah.
goes his dreams of a GC victory.
Remember what happened with Valverde? He gets one flat during a crosswind, loses a few minutes, and his tour's done. They're working for Quintana.
But it was funny how they paced, like, you know how Belkin paced in that tour?
Belkin paced,
And then
yes.
everyone is like, that's okay, that's okay. Then when someone else falls behind, some of the bigger names fall behind, and it's like, well, it's bad, that we shouldn't pace, we shouldn't pace. I just found
Yeah.
that funny. So, let's talk about the sprinters in the Giro d'Italia. You have a bit more understanding of this, because I haven't really watched the Giro d'Italia the last couple of years, but you know a bit about this.
Yes. Well, according to Pro Cycling Stats, Mark Cavendish and Andre Greipel will be there. There's no report of who Shimano's bringing. So, I would have to say that Cav's the favorite. Greipel could win as well. However, I don't see any other sprinters. It's the Giro's been mountainous repeatedly for a long time. Of course, there's Viviani that's going, but we can't really count him as a favorite
He's
any
actually
time.
beat Cavendish before. In the Tour of Britain, I think it was, he beat Cavendish in a straight-up sprint last year. I remember because I was recording this for the Cycling Hub, and he just went from the left lane to the right lane, right in the finish line, and there was like a bit of talk about that afterwards, because it was not really sportsmanlike, but he beat him straight up in the sprint. So it's possible.
Yeah, I remember he was always up there in the Vuelta.
Yeah, but we have also seen that a guy like Kittel, he can dethrone Cavendish really easily. So if he
Yes.
decides to go to the same races as Cavendish, Cavendish is gonna have a terrible next year.
If the Giro lines up and Marcel Kittle's there, then I would consider Marcel Kittle the obvious favorite
He
at this
is.
point.
I've been, like, before he really won last year, I was a big fan of Kittle. Now that he's winning, I'm turning less of a fan of him. I don't know why, but I just like the underdog aspect. And
Yeah.
he's just going away with the power that he's shown recently. That guy is just so strong. But also, he's got Bacon Cup to back him up as well. That's one hell of a lead-up, man. Who's else in that team that can sprint? Nicholas Arndt, he can sprint.
Yes.
Single name can sprint. The team Irish
Dagan.
Man is one big sprinting team.
Mezgec,
Oh, I haven't really seen much of him, but yeah, he can sprint according to PCM.
according to PCM, he
Yeah,
can
yeah,
sprint.
exactly. That's I know the stats on PCM. That's my basic knowledge of people. But what else is there? So the Mountains jersey doesn't really matter that much in the Giro d'Italia. It's more in the Tour de France. So let's get on with the Tour de France. Who do you think is going to win the Tour de France next year? That's the big talking point.
Room.
Froome?
I can't see anyone else. I can't. I can see them trying. I can see several people doing very well. I can see Nibali obviously being a huge contestant for that, especially if he doesn't do the Giro. I can see Vandenbroek, Valverde, Quintana if he goes.
Well,
Pino,
yeah.
got other Betancourt, a bunch of guys. But to be honest, this is Team Sky's long list. Chris Froome, Mikel Nieve, Sergio Henao, Richie Porte, Vasil Kuryanka, Konstantin Titsov, Peter Keenhoff, Bradley Wiggins, and Geraint Thomas.
Well, they got to battle Roman Kreuziger next year on the ex-Danish team, so he's actually a big contender.
That's true.
If you
If
saw
they
his
decide-
performance,
Yes, if they decide to go for him instead of Contador, if Contador doesn't do the tour, because I really don't think that he has a chance. It says that he might. He doesn't have a chance in my book.
no.
But if he decides that he's going to do it,
It's gonna be tough for him. It's gonna be tough. I mean, with Oleg Tinkov as a boss now, it's called Team Tinkov Saxo Bank, I think it's gonna be called next year.
yeah.
He's gonna demand victories, and Contador knows this. So I mean, if I wouldn't him, I wouldn't dare go to the Tour de France. But being a big name that he is, he's probably gonna get forced to go to the Tour de France and try to win it. But if I was him, I'd go to the Giro and Vuelta and try to do that. But that would
Yeah,
never.
I think he would have a much better chance at, say, the Vuelta. We don't really know who's going there completely yet. So if not a lot of favorites show up, he would have a chance there, of course. We saw what happened in Nibali there when Chris Horner showed up, so I'm not really sure.
That was a joke. That was a joke how Horner just won that. I mean, it's funny how his own team said that was just unreal. We won't give you a contract extension.
Yeah.
I like the balls of Trek right there. I think that really takes some balls saying, you know what, we have the winner of the Vuelta a España, but he looks really suspicious. I don't dare to give him extension of his contract.
Yeah, that's why I found it weird that they, after Frank Schleck got caught for doping, they re-signed him, even though they said they weren't going to.
Wait, he got resigned?
Yeah,
I thought he got fired.
he did.
So
And
he
then
got
they just were
fired
like-
and then resigned.
But they were like, never mind.
But it's
Andy
probably-
needs his bro.
It's because of their new team they're making. Like the old sponsor is going away and the new sponsor is coming in.
Yeah, Trek.
So it's probably them making up the wrongful decision of the other guys' team. I don't know. But it's weird, like, the Slake brothers have just been holding each other down for so many years. But back to the Tour de France. So we talked about the sprinters in this year, the Italia, Cavendish, Greipel, and those guys. Do you think it's going to be the same guys in the Tour de France?
I think there's going to be more in the Tour. There's always a big sprinting field because there's always a lot of sprint stages. According to Pro Cycling Stats, we got not only Cav and Greipel, Kittle's going to be there. Also Sagan.
Well, Sagan in my book is not really a sprinter. I
Yeah,
mean,
but all those hilly stages that end in sprints where guys might be dropped, he
That's
just
true.
sweeps in.
But still, I mean, the guy in a straight up sprint, he's bad. In a hilly sprint, he's gonna have Simon Gerrans to battle with, and we saw last year how
Yes.
Simon Gerrans can beat him. So he's gotta go. He's gotta do those strange breakaway attacks to get a stage win. I'd almost say he's gotta pull to a Husserl or Eva Bosenhagen.
Yeah,
He's
but
not fast enough.
maybe not for the stage wins, but I think for Green, he's somebody definitely to watch out
Oh
for.
yeah, he's got the green. I mean, next 4 or 5 years, Sagan's
Yeah.
got the green jersey. But that's because he can consistently he can be top 5, top 3. But he's
Yes.
not a guy that consistently can win stages. That's not him.
We saw in the Champs-Élysées last year, he just doesn't have that top speed.
Not like
Just not
Kittle. I mean, we all remember that one year where
Yeah.
Cavendish won with like, what was that, 4 or 5 bike lengths? That was unreal how he won that. And that kind of speed Sagan does not have. But Kittle and Greipel, those guys have it. So, guess we'll
Yeah.
see more of those. My personal favorite is going to be Michael Murkoff. Just saying.
Definitely. Michael Murkoff for Green and for 10 stage wins.
And for the super competitive as well. Yes.
Yes.
We want that back. I remember that one year where Christian Sørensen got super competitive, where Michael Murkoff deserved it. I mean, I'm not sad that Christian Sørensen got it, but he didn't deserve it. But everything's possible in the Tour de France apparently. So the thing is, in the Tour de France, there's a bit more talk about the white jersey and the mountains jersey. Who do you think will win those two?
Mountains jersey could go any way. Like, we don't really know who's going to be there. It usually goes to a Frenchie
David
because of
Moncoutier.
their pride. It could... What?
Moncoutier, he's known for taking it every single year when he
He's
was there.
retired, though.
Yeah, I know, but when he was there,
Yeah.
he was the
Yeah.
Frenchman to take it every year.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put my
And that's
money
why
on him.
I'm saying somebody that like Riblon last year was there. I don't know, any amount of Frenchman, any GC guy who's not really a GC guy, who's more of like a climber, he's just not there. Like say
Robert Gesink.
Gessink. Exactly.
Rain Terame. But they're not French, but they still fit the
Yep.
profile.
The upcoming talent, yeah.
They're guessing the upcoming talent that will stay the upcoming talent forever. It's kind of sad for him, but that's how he is. Robert Gissing has never really done anything. But
I wouldn't even count out somebody like Pierre Roland because his GC failed last year. Maybe he'll just go out straight out for that.
he tried actually. He tried to go for the Minor Series
Yeah.
last year, but it failed on him because of
He got
Quintana.
he got held back because in the beginning he was still going for GC, and then when that failed, he tries to go all in, but he can't beat Quintana straight out. There's no
Never.
way.
It's too tough for him. But I mean, it's the Mountains guy has got to be a guy who can both compete in the GC and in those stupid flat stages where you have to go get points once in a while. If you want to beat
Yeah.
Quintana, that's how it is. I mean, you gotta be able to get top 10 and be able to attack. Like, you gotta say that I'm good enough, but I'm not good enough to win, so therefore I'm going for this Mountains jersey. That's how it is. Because otherwise a guy like Froome will take it over Quintana.
Sometimes your pride gets in the way of that.
Oh, trust me, yeah. Chris Sørensen that one year where he went for it and he just failed, that was sad. But, you know what, I kind of miss that. Actually, speaking about that, next year we probably won't see a single Danish rider on Team Saxo or Team Tinka of Saxo Bank. That's just a repeat of last year. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
Missing all those guys. So what about the white jersey? Talked about the Mountains jersey, the green jersey, the yellow jersey, now we have the white jersey.
Well, white jersey, there are a lot of contenders, but there's really only one contender, and that is Nairo Quintana.
Yeah, true. But there's been a lot of talk about the two American guys, TJ van Garderen and Andrei Talansky.
Talansky.
But do you really think they can they really beat a guy like Quintana?
If they were on the same team and they were working together completely, maybe, but they both have other reservations, and for their teams, I don't think that they can really make up for it. TJ Van Garderen and Talansky are much better in the time trials that are flat, but that's not enough time to make up for what they're going to lose.
Well, next year in the Tour de France, there's actually a cobblestone stage. So,
That could really hurt
Quintana and Froome.
Quintana.
They don't
Yeah.
have the Froome to back. They don't have the team to back him up. He's got Andrew Amador as his best cobblestone rider, and that's it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they made any reinforcements for cobblestone, so it's gonna be a tough time for him. This is where a team like Trek comes in. If you could bring Cancellara, or also Omega Pharma Quickstep with Oran, if they bring Tom Bowden and just pace on that cobblestone section, you could drop a lot of guys actually.
Yeah.
We've seen it before. That was that one year where Frank Slake fell and broke his collarbone, where Cancellara kept on going with Andy Slake and he got a lot of time. He still ended up losing that year technically. But, I mean, it's been done before and they can do it again. Do you think they'll do it?
They could, but I just don't feel like Andy is good enough. He showed some signs in the tour last year of, being a decent guy, but I just can't see him getting back anywhere near his other level. And so even if he gains some time, he's definitely a guy who could top 10 easily, but he's not a guy I would consider for the podium or the win.
What about Oran and Omega Pharma Quickstep?
Well, I think that Uran definitely has a chance for a top 10, and he could definitely get a top 5 if everything goes as planned, but he will also have done the Giro, reportedly. So I think he'd have a much better chance there, and if he does that, his legs will probably be tired. Remember what happened to Contador in 2011?
Yeah, that
he
was
was just he dominated the Giro, but then in the Tour it just wasn't right for him. It's getting harder and harder to be able to win 2 Grand Tours that are right next to each other, and I don't think the Contador, if Contador couldn't do it, then I don't really feel like Uran could do it.
Exactly. There's actually one guy we're forgetting. This is Hanspal's favorite team, Lotto Belisel. They have a really strong team
Van
in
den
the
Broek.
cobblestone.
Van den Broek.
Yep, they have Jurgen van der Broek. This is his lucky year, because Jurgen van der Broek has this charm around him where every other year he's going to fail. Well, next
Yeah.
year it's going to be that, not that other year, it's going to be the year in between where he's actually doing good. And he's got Jurgen Roland, he's got Andre Greipel, he's got Gregory Henderson, Lars Bach. He's got all those guys who are good in the cobblestones who can actually protect him. Do you think they might pull something off?
Definitely, because Van den Broek himself isn't horrible on cobbles, so them helping him will help him. It won't leave him behind. So he and his mountain is very, very good, as he showed in 2012 especially. Definitely a candidate for, in my book, he's a write-in for a top 10 and mostly a top 5.
I'm
He's
saying
definitely
fourth.
contender for the
I'm
podium.
saying fourth. Jürgen van der Broek is that guy who always gets fourth. I mean, all the years that I've
Yes.
seen so far, Jürgen van der Broek, he's either crashed or got fourth.
I think if everything goes well in the cobbles, he can get a podium. But Chris Froome and his Skybots, I just can't see them being dethroned by a team that really can't do much on the mountains.
But the cobblestones itself, Froome can lose around 2 or 3 minutes on the cobblestones, technically, because they don't have
Yeah.
anyone to bring. Like, Evert Bostenhagen is rumored to leaving the team, and he's probably one of the best cobblestones guys they have. So, I don't see what they're supposed to do. I mean, they can help him with all the mountain guys they have and just protect him like one big ball around him, but that's not going to be enough. There's still teams that are going to pace in the front, and he's going to lose those minutes. He can't get him back in the mountains, but still,
If he goes full retard in the mountains, though,
Still, if you have that motivational push that you're 2 minutes in front of Froome, I think you want to move that extra tiny bit just to stay those 2 minutes in front of Froome.
maybe.
It's a big motivational gainer right there to be in front of Froome with 2 minutes. But you never know with Froome. We've seen Froome go Cavendish up a mountain. I mean, what's going to stop him from doing it again? That was ridiculous. That one time up at Extra de Men where he just left Contador. That just set the tone for the entire tour. So, okay, one thing that Team Saxo Bank is actually known for doing this. Do you think anyone will go specifically after the team classification?
It depends on who they bring. Like, if Garmin started going for it again, they could take it if they bring their A squad. Because we don't really know, because Hagedal probably isn't doing the Giro. He might go to this as a thing, but he's kind of fallen off too.
Like Dan Martin?
Like, Dan Martin's going to be a beast in the Giro. I don't know. He's probably going to go to the Tour. I can't see him doing much, so they might want to go for Hagedal at the Tour.
Well,
But-
I want to say one thing I want to say about Dan Martin. He's turned from a GC contender into a classics guy. From what I've seen so far of him, he's become so explosive on the hills and really slow on the steep mountain parts.
Well, I do remember a certain stage with Fulsang was there, I believe.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair because no one of the other favorites were going for him.
Also
or neither of them.
Catalunya. Also Catalunya.
Didn't
where
watch
he won
that.
that mountain stage.
Didn't watch that. You gotta remember, I was in America most of the
Oh,
time.
yes.
So I haven't seen much of the cycling. I saw the Tour de France, and that's about it.
So, Perito's going right now. I don't really know why.
Because I can. I've got so many guys to
Because
spend.
I now have everyone following him on my
Best-
team,
best of
and
luck
none of them
trying
are
to
losing
follow
energy.
Rodriguez. Okay, best of luck trying to follow him. But yeah, okay, so we are on with the 2 big Grand Tours. Now we got one left, and that's Vuelta a España. This is the one that people don't really care about in the world of cycling, or that's how I feel it is. So it's easier to get that, what is it, red jersey?
Crap.
Oh, you can't follow? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I could follow, but then Weiss died in a gap.
Well, but who do you think is going to get that red jersey next year? We saw Christopher Horner just
Chris
going
Horner's
full
going to
retard.
go as a free, without a team.
Oh,
and
free
he's
agent?
going to- yeah, as a free agent, and he will win.
Nah, that's just full retard. I mean, a Froome might go full retard, but if Chris Horner comes and just wears like a white shirt, says nothing, and just be like, "Yep, I'm the what's it called? Previous champion? What is that called? I don't remember. But I'm gonna go and just win.
Reigning champion.
Reigning champion. That's what it's called. And just go and win it by myself. It's not even gonna be possible. How is he gonna do that? I remember I'm reading a book right now about wheelmen, and there was one American guy who did not have a team. All he did, he brought his own bags and stuff, and he filled it up to the point where he couldn't do anymore. And then he just rode 150 kilometers with all all the water drinks on his sides and food and stuff like that. He didn't have anyone giving him food on the stage. It was kind of ridiculous, but he pulled it off. Those Americans, they're crazy. Are you trying to bring Micah up?
Micah is up.
Oh, well, not for long. But, so, red jersey, what do you think?
Red jersey depends on who goes. According to Pro Cycling Stats, at this point, Perito's probably going, and so is could Contador, Valverde. I like Perito if they stay with the plan of not having any of just having hill stages every year.
That's true, yeah, Perito the good. Another guy I want to mention from the same team is Daniel Moreno. I mean, he showed he's explosive in those hilly stages. If he just trains a bit more for the mountain stages, he's got to be a big favorite.
Definitely. My only issue with him is his recovery. He seemed to really flunk towards the end of it.
But he also goes all out, because right now he's not a GC contender, so he knows he can go all out. So, it's kind of a mix, like, it depends on what your goals are and what you're willing to do for it. Because if you're a GC contender, you don't go all out like he did in those kind of stages. I mean, that would just be suicide. You're never, actually, you've seen Froome go all out and still do good in the next stage. But normally you don't see other bots going like that. So, my personal opinion of who's going to win the Vuelta a España, I don't even know. I mean, that's the most open race of them all, because if Crotona can win, I mean, even Jacob Fuglsang can win it, even though he's always second.
If like last year, a lot of the guys that go have already ridden a Grand Tour, then there's no real way to predict who's going to be fresh and who's not going to be.
True. So it's gonna be a real difficult one. I am leaning to one of the Colombians. Yeah, they're Uran and Hinao, Colombians.
Uran, Henao, Betancourt.
Exactly. No, Betancourt, no, I'd never. Not with the thing he did last year in the Vuelta a España, where he actually went to the Vuelta a España, then afterwards he said, nope, I didn't want to go anyway, so I'm just gonna have a real jog through the entire thing, not even care. And
yeah,
that's
didn't
not very
even
smart.
care the entire time.
That's kind of sad, but you know what? Put on a real good show for us. So at least we have one 82-hour rider doing good for us. What about like the green jersey in that race? Because that is like one of the most difficult things to say who's gonna get that.
There's no way to predict that accurately.
True.
At least.
I want to say I think a guy like what's his name? Michael Matthews, from
Yes.
Orca Green Match. A guy like that has to go for it again next year. Because that's like his only race where he's one of the big favorites. And he can sprint and he can go uphill. He's like a mini Sagan type of rider. So, he's going to be one of the favorites. But the thing about Vuelta a España is no one really cares. I mean, you just go there and you get the prize money, you get the fame, and that's it. I mean, thanks for coming, see you again. That's basically how it is. And you could tell, I don't know if you guys watched the Cycling Hub, but we didn't get the same amount of views as we did, or as Zealand did in the Tour de France and Giro d'Italia. It's a big difference. People just don't really care about the Vuelta a España.
By that point, it's kind of like they just climaxed at the Tour, and now it's like, okay.
Exactly. So now we're talking about a bit about the 3 Grand Tours who we think are going to win, who we think are going to get the different kind of jerseys. What about the ups and downs? Who do you think is going to have a great year, and who do you think is going to have not so great of a year?
Dan Martin's going to have a great year.
Oh, like Fuglsang? Nah, I would like to see a rematch of those two, actually. Just an end stage.
I would like to see them just going head-to-head on a mountain like
True.
2010 Schleck Contador, except with Fuglsang and...
None of them would attack. They would just wheel-start each other, pretty much. That's how the entire race would be done. But a guy like Fuglsang, he's going to have a down year next year, speaking about him. Because he's got Michel Scarponi and Vincenzo Nibali as his captains. And there's no way he's going to beat those guys for the captain's slot. So, I mean, he's going to have a great year just putting the pace down, just destroying other riders, but that's about it. He's not going to see any other race than that. What about Dan Martin? Which stages do you think he can win? Which kind of races can he win?
Hilly Classics again. If he goes for it, Liège-Bastogne-Liège could be his again. Depends on the form, guys like Gilbert, and I think Gilbert might be gone, though.
Yeah. From the looks of last season, he only won one stage, and that's horrendous. I mean, a guy with that much talent needs to win more, and he didn't win enough.
Yeah.
So, a guy like Peter Sagan, kind of the same kind of rider. Does he focus on the classics or on the GCs? Because he's doing both, from what I remember, isn't he?
Yeah, that's been his one bane, is that he can't focus primarily on sprints. He can't focus primarily on classics. He can't focus primarily on GCs. He can do everything, but he can't do anything particularly well.
Yeah, exactly.
Good enough to be special at it. So while he's winning green jerseys, there's really nothing else that he can reliably win.
It's tough. It's actually tough for him, but if I was him, I would just say, screw the classics, I'm going all out tour, and see how it went, just 1 year. I mean, from what I remember, I've seen the results, he didn't even win a single classic, did he? Like, he got second or third in the Prix-Roubaix or something like that.
I think he won one of the, like, continental pro-Conti
that
classics.
Doesn't count. That doesn't really count. Because the big classics, we have the Prix-Roubaix, we have the, what's it called, Flandern? I don't remember what it's called. You got Liège-Bastogne-Liège, you got the Amstel Gold Race. You got those kind of races, and those are the ones that count. Yeah, La Flèche Wallonne.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that count. Or Ronde van Vlaanderen, that's what it's called. Those
Yeah.
are the big classics. That's the ones you have to go for. And if you can't win those, I mean, what's the point of going? No one remembers second and third. That's how it is. You either win or you don't.
True.
So you gotta prioritize. But I see him. If you got the stamina, why not go? But a guy like that, would he be faster if he didn't do the classics?
If he lost some weight and focused on sprinting, or I mean, if he gained some weight, like muscle wise,
Yeah.
he's really muscular already. But if he just focused primarily on that, then he might lose his climbing ability, and he still might not be at the level of a sprinters or a classics rider like Cancellara or like Kittle. So maybe I think it is in his best interest to just stick it the way he is and go for that green jersey and try to make that his thing.
Yeah, I can understand because it's kind of a risk changing how Sagan is. Because Sagan is Sagan. Like there is no way you can really change him. I don't even think he wants to change. So what we're talking about is kind of pointless. But you know what? That guy, he's got his own way of riding, and we all enjoy him because of that. He's got his own way of doing things, and that's a good way of doing things. So another rider that I think is gonna do pretty bad next year, and we already talked a bit about him, is Contador. Because
Yes.
there's nothing he can really win anymore. And PCM wise, if I would give him a stat right now, it would be 77 Mountain. I mean, he can get beaten by anyone. If he doesn't even have the team, like anyone with a team can beat him. That's how I see it. So he's gotta do something else. He's gotta try something else. He's turning into an Andy Slick from the point of view right now. It's sad.
I just feel like Contador's done. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the age or just the constant gruel that he's had to do, or I don't know. I just don't feel like
Unless he
I feel
finds
like
another
something
beef. See, that's the
unless he
thing.
can get some nice sirloin steak. I just can't really see what else
It won't
he can
happen.
do.
It's
If he
it's
gets
it's tough for him.
Yeah, if he can get another steak, then he might be okay. Other than that,
It's too tough. Who else is gonna do good and do bad next season? We had the winner, Chris Froome. He's of course he's gonna do good. Like he won the Pro Tour rankings last year, I believe,
yes.
and he's gonna do it again. I mean, there's no way he's not gonna take it by storm. We might see a Peter Keenock or Richie Porte, Wiggins take over because of the Sky Dope Train or whatever they're called nowadays. I mean, that's how it's gonna be. But
Yeah.
anyone who you think are gonna flop who are expected to do good? Because I can't really think of anyone. I mean, Balkan Malama, but he's not expected to do good.
He's not expected to do good. Gesink is not expected to do good. I mean, he's still an upcoming talent. He can't be expected to be winning big races yet, you know?
What about Nibali, actually? Nibali said next year he's dropping the Giro and going for the Tour de France. Do you think he can actually do good in the Tour de France?
No. I mean, of course he's going to do good. I think he's up second place. But
you really
I
think
just
second place? You think he can
do I-
beat Quintana and Froome?
I think he can. I think he's a podium, right in for a top 5, definitely. My one issue is Froome, Nieve, now Thomas, Port, Kirienka, Sitsov, Hinov, Wiggins.
So you're basically just saying the entire Sky team.
Yeah, my issue here is the fact that Sky has this team.
Yeah, they're really strong. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat their team, but next year, we can't tell what's going to happen next year. There might be a guy coming out of nowhere. To be fair, I've never heard of Nairo Quintana before that year. But that's because I don't really follow under 23 racing and stuff like that. Like his brother is coming up right now, and he looks to be also really good. He's actually a sprinter, isn't he? Or am I wrong?
I'm not sure at all.
Well, I don't remember. But also another guy that's coming up, Rick Sabel, is that his name?
Yes.
Rick
I know
Sabel
of
and
him.
Caleb Irvin, those two sprinters. Can't wait to see him. I follow Orca Greenet's their what's the YouTube channel, their vlog channel. I follow
Yeah,
that.
that's
And Caleb Irvin looks like a nice guy, and he's really fast actually. He won his first race he competed in.
his name is actually Iwan.
Oh,
That's PCM.
oh, it is. Wow,
Yeah.
I've got the name wrong then. But I know he's like Asian, Australian, something like that.
Yeah.
But he's a good sprinter, and so like Rick Sabel, is he related to Eric Sabel?
Not sure.
He might
Not
be
sure.
because same name. We
Probably.
might see an Oscar Freire son or brother or something come out one day. I actually miss a guy like Oscar Freire. Like,
Yeah.
that was the good old days. Also like Juan Antonio Fletcher, the he's stopping. And that makes me
Yeah.
sad. Do you remember that one video where it was like Bjorn Lukemans, I called him Fletcher?
Yes.
See, just because of that, I kind of like Fletcher even more because it's just like so weird. Like, it's small moments like that just makes your day.
Cars just never worked out for Fletcher, you know?
Oh, well, that was kind of tough. Well, Jenny Hoogeland could say the same thing. I would stay away from cars. Okay,
Yes.
let's see.
And barbed wire fences.
What? Oh, I'm getting spammed down on Steam right now. This is not good. This is Kaikens spamming me down. But we got 5 comments to go, guys. This was this weekly rant. I hope you guys liked this. If you want to have something you want to talk about, tell us this. Because next year when the cycling season starts, we're going to try to speak, or we're going to talk to each other about the week that just happened in cycling. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting, and I hope you guys are going to like it. I'm going to win this.
Really?
No. No, not a chance in hell. Like, you're just leaving me behind. How fast are you going? Like 90?
85.
Ah, that's not true.
It is.
Okay, you Contador's just so much faster than Rodriguez then. Like, this is tough. How much red do you have left?
Full.
What?
Bye.
This is not fair. Come on, well, I just went for Rodriguez. But thank you guys for watching. Go watch that Baseball Lovers channel. It's in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.